We're going to call to order the Troy Industrial Development Authority board meeting. It is not November 21st. It is December 19th, 2025. We have just two absences today. We have Alex and Sue not available, but everyone else is here. We're going to start with approval of the November 21st minutes. We have to skip over the 26th, September and October. Do we have any questions or comments on the minutes, or do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
No, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. We just have Alex and Sue absent. On to new business. We have an initial project resolution, the application for First Columbia 433 River Street LLC, Project 2025. We have members here that are available for presentation or discussion, and I will leave it in Justin in their hands for putting it on the table.
Yeah, just as a reintroduction, the folks that were present last month remember that we had kind of a pre-application discussion and a tabling of an initial resolution pending the submission of a full application and having the applicant here to talk about the project, the building we're sitting in. And also we have Deputy Mayor Seamus Donnelly here to answer any questions on the city's role and impacts here in the exit from this building to the new Proctor's, which congratulations to the LDC and the city. They acquired Proctor's Theater yesterday. And that's going to be under construction immediately and delivered hopefully in the middle of October next year. In that context, we have Kevin Prunty from First Columbia here to answer any questions, talk about the application and the initial resolution. And I recall that certainly Albert and others had questions, and if the application didn't answer those, we have the applicant here to talk. So I'll get out of the way.
I still haven't seen the financials.
Okay. I think those are ready to be delivered. I think that I kind of get out of the way.
Yeah, we're preparing the audited financials for our review for your guys' review.
Okay.
But as you can tell, the application does have a lot of financial figures in there.
Well, it's not enough for me. I used to do commercial lending, so I need more than that. Plus that, I'd like to see more information on the rent roll too.
Yeah, these are all documents that we can get over to you for your further review. I think from last meeting, I think there was a lot of questions just overall about the application and the building itself. I think there's questions on which sense of downsizing, what's happened. You know, overall, this building, it's an economic driver. We've had at its peak over 1,000 jobs in this building, which are feeding apartments, they're feeding retail and commerce into the city. What's happened, obviously, is no surprise to anyone. The urban office market is not what it was back in 2015. This building has had hiccups previously when the state left over 10 years ago. The occupancy was 49%. Because of the IDA's pilot that we implemented from 2014 to 2018, we then added 300 jobs, and then we also climbed back up to a 98% occupancy in 2021. All that is in partnership with the IDA from the 2016 pilot amendment. Because as you know, attracting tenants and also struggling urban office market, one of the biggest things is certainty for taxpayers. Our biggest competition right now is right next door in the town of Colony, where parking's not a problem, taxes aren't a problem. So that's what our competition is. And also the competition is Albany, who just got subsidized $200 million to attract new business and development. So we want to be bringing new tenants into this building, which I think everyone's seen that First Columbia has the ability to do. If you look at the last pilot in 2018, we brought in Deep Blue Communications, which at its peak had over 80 jobs in the building. They were so successful from their time in Troy, they were bought out by a Fortune 500 company, Comcast, and unfortunately Comcast, when the world changed in 2020, they completely changed what their work structure is. They went from, having a whole fourth floor to saying, we only need a few people in the office to get back that entire floor. We're working on re-tenanting that, but in order to re-tenant that, tenants need assistance and help with that. So I think First Columbia's ability to attract tenants with our fit up is no surprise to anyone. We've been able to do so in the last 8 years. But for a lot of these tenants, the main thing is economic and taxes. Certainty for taxes is the main thing here.
The current meeting for the next meeting is going to be January 16th, just because the first falls on a Thursday this year, so it creeps up pretty quick in January. The finance subcommittee is Stephanie, Albert, and myself. If we were to meet, if you get that information that's being requested to us, is it possible to get that? I mean, that's you know.
I mean,
Yeah. So is that enough time? Are you going to be able? Is that something you can get to us by the week of the 5th?
Yep, especially for year-end financials.
Great. That's when I would propose that we, pending the application resolution passes, that's what I would hope that we could do, because it gives enough time. If we could meet earlier in that week remotely, would be fine. 3 of us and Justin, and then if there's a volley back for further questions, there's enough time to address that. That first meeting is really quick next year.
Yeah, we can definitely get it.
But this is the first, I think, memory serves, this is the first, like, nonprofit pilot that we've had to do a subcommittee meeting since, I mean, it's been almost 8 months, I think. So we should plan to do that and have a chance to address that before a public hearing and meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, if there's more questions on the table, we can get that information. That's what I want to see that.
When was the last time this building was appraised?
2016.
I think that's the last time the M&T debt was touched,
Yeah,
right?
when we had to refinance the building, it had to be.
Are you refinancing the current mortgage?
We are not.
Oh, you're not?
No,
Okay.
we are not.
What's the current occupancy percentage? You've talked about past years, but
Right now, before the city, we're going to be, right now, we're
including the city.
including
Like,
city,
yeah. Mhm.
once they leave or with
No,
them?
just what is it, 2025?
We are right under 88% right now. But this is, as you know, commercial leases do take a little bit of lag, so we have gotten quite a few notices, obviously. One being the city, and there's a few other tenants. You know, Express Scripts is on the 8th floor still, so that number does include them. They are going from 25,000 square feet just down to 4,000 square feet. So that number does not reflect that downside, and it does not reflect 2 other downside notices that we've received in the last 2 months. So it's unfortunate that, you know, the work from home and everything has changed it completely, but it's the landlord's job to figure it out and find new tenants and bring new businesses to Troy. And I think First Columbia has really demonstrated that they can do that, given the business they've brought in the last 15 years.
Do you have potential tenants for the 5th floor?
Not for the 5th floor, no. We have quite a bit of vacancy to fill up before the 5th floor. We are working on tackling the 4th floor right now, the space that Comcast gave back. That was a whole floor, over 32,000 square feet, so we're still working on that vacancy. And then we will also then be shifting our focus to the 8th floor vacancy, which is 25,000 square feet.
And then what is the projected occupancy after City Hall moves?
After they move out, we'll be below 70% at that point.
That's a year from now?
Next November.
Okay.
Are you below 50% with the other, that you said, the other?
If everyone goes up all at the same time, we would be probably right above there.
Got it.
And the 1st floor is bringing how many jobs with Slide and Dirty?
His exact employee count, do you know?
I don't have a number from him right now. I think he has 5, but as business increases, that will increase.
And we'll be submitting that obviously with our current pilot job numbers as they come in. But he's been a great add. He just opened actually last week, and it's been a good reaction so far, so we're hoping to bring some new commerce into the building as well.
How long is his lease for?
He did a 3-year to begin with renewal options. It's a big space down there. Again, that was,
The whole floor? It's the whole floor?
it's the south side.
Everything on the other side of the cafe.
Yeah,
Okay.
again, when we talk about some challenges, you know, 2020, the first event for the 9th floor was February of 2020, before the World Cup ended. You know, luckily, you know, we have a world-class operator up there. They've been able to bring events and do things, but the food hall was never able to kind of recover that, because they were relying on all the jobs in the building. The 4th floor wasn't back, 8th floor wasn't back, so the food hall vendors, they did struggle. So obviously, you guys, you know, walk in for meetings probably noticed that it was shut down for a little bit. And we luckily that, you know, Tim has a very loyal following in Troy, and we're able to bring him in. And that's what's down there. It's a large restaurant space, though. So his niche is kind of music, so he's going to use the back space for music after hours and stuff, so it's going to be used there.
So do people that go there do they park in the lot across the street?
Correct.
Okay, so people
Yeah.
know to go there and not be
Yeah.
worried about getting
Yep.
ticketed.
Yep, and Joe's our general manager, so he runs parking, all the operations for the building, so he's been working hand in hand with Tim on where his customers and patrons should be parking.
Thank you for
Yeah,
coming to
thank
this
you.
meeting, by the way.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Just thank you for attending and for having the full application in front of us this time. I do appreciate that.
There's some exhibits there. I hope it, you know, shows what's going on in the building. You know, we are very open. Like I said, our biggest competitor is Colony next door, and, you know, taxes are a different situation there, and, you know, parking's a different situation, but there's certain firms that belong in the city of Troy. You know, the tenant that we just put on the 6th floor, you know, it's a respiratory company, tech firm. They belong to Troy. They don't belong in the subject. So we've had situations where architects and engineers have looked at, you know, Learjet Lane or Century Hill, and we shipped them here down Troy because they belong here. Or they're, you know, this is H2M on the 8th floor. They came in 2022. They've grown, you know, since then. The first question they had was, do you guys have a bike rack? They have 4 people who, you know, bike and walk to work. So these are the tenants that we want in Troy: architects, engineers, tech firms, the ones that belong down here. And those are the ones that we're going to be targeting, and I think we can benefit from this. So we hope with your guys' support and economic development that we can all make that happen, because it's a growing Troy. It's a good Troy for everyone.
Do you have any other representatives here that want to make a statement, or anyone? No one's called in. Okay. Anything like that? Otherwise, keep going with questions from the board if there's any to address. Or do we have a motion? I mean, the application's in order. I think we're going to be, just to be frank, I think it's going to be an interesting public hearing. It could be for you, but if we get to that. But I think in terms of application, it's in order this time. We're here. We have it in front of us. So if there's a motion for this initial resolution, if someone wants to bring that forward, or again, any other questions before we get into that.
Make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Michael, no. We have 4 ayes, 5 ayes with 1 opposed. That is, passes. We just also, to note for the minutes, we have Alex and Sue absent today. So the motion for the resolution of the Troy Industrial Development Authority accepting supplemental application from First Columbia 433 River Street LLC in connection with a certain project, authorizing the scheduling notice and conduct of a public hearing with respect to the project, and describing the forms of financial assistance being contemplated by the authority with respect to the project passes. We will look forward to getting more information from you and for the subcommittee, and please try to get that as quick as possible, and we'll be discussing offline with some dates that work the week of the 5th for the subcommittee. And again, other board members, and back to Alex and Sue, if there's further questions to ask them that you want to send to the subcommittee, please let us know, and we'll that'll give us some time to get more answers if we need to. On to the next item of new business. We have a item for city staffing fee.
Yeah, I can speak to it quickly.
Thank you.
As most of the board's familiar, each year, the IDA, through its fund balance, has historically paid, you know, a staffing fee to the city, in exchange for the services, that Danae, historically Randy, and others have provided, to maintain the IDA's operations. Last year, I think, was $125,000, and the proposal, I think, is to keep that stable for now. Each year, the board endorses that, so the payment can be processed by Matt over to the city. So that's on for today, and if the board's comfortable with that, we'll just, or if you have any questions, certainly, but we'd like to get that approval today, so that can be closed out before the end of the year.
Is it a change from anything in the budget, or just?
No, I
Right.
think the proposition here is to keep it stable. That may change once we move into Proctor's in City Hall. It'll be a different footprint, different kind of presence, so that may be revisited at the end of next year.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we just have the two absences, no opposed. On to request for funds for attendance at the Economic Development Conference in February, and opening to board members who'd be interested in attending as well. I mean, right now, Danae attended last year. Danae and I attended the year before that. February's a big conference month for me, but if I can make it, I'd like to. So there's two people interested in attending. Would anybody else on the board be interested in attending the EDC conference? Or we can approve funds, and if you don't attend, we don't spend it.
Yeah, I was just trying to get it out ahead of time, because we're usually scrambling and bringing the check with us when we show up, so I figure,
the early bird
let's
special.
let's see if there's interest. They could send us an invoice, we can cut the check and like mail it to them like we're supposed to ahead of time.
Justin's table gives you free pens. That's about the best it gets.
Well, it's a really good conference, and I know you got a lot out of it when you went. I usually get a lot out of it, and it's nice to have a little,
It's a site in New York. It's in Albany at the Capitol Center.
Oh, okay.
They do other events throughout the year, but this is the big one. And I mean, it's fascinating, like how, like the machinations behind the scenes of like seeing what is going on in other municipalities. There's pretty much zero board member participation in this. So I think it just reflects good on us, and it's also just interesting. And if you continue to want to serve on public boards that are related to economic development in New York State, you might meet some interesting contacts, but it is a commitment away from work and other things. But if you're interested, it's a small ticket price, so we would just need to get an idea of number of tickets to approve. Did you know what it is each?
I don't know yet, they didn't get back to me.
What
It's
is
usually
it?
like 200, the beginning of February.
Okay.
It's good for best practices for staff in terms of, corporate hygiene. There's breakout sessions on IDA pilots, there's breakout sessions on Paris and
Yeah, it's pretty.
how to deal with certain kinds of things like renewable energy or different housing projects.
If you don't plan on participating in boards ever again, I would say it's not for you, but
Yeah.
but it is interesting for that purpose. But Albert expressed interest, I have, as anybody else, potentially, so we.
Yeah, just let me know, and what I can do is, once I find out how much it actually will be per person next month, I can come back with the invoice or whatever.
Okay,
I just wanted to gauge interest ahead of time,
great.
I don't know what it's gonna be like.
So hold it for now, and if
Yeah.
possible, and we'll see. We're nothing to vote on yet, but just if you get the pricing for that. Worth bringing up that thought on the outside, just as a potential to look into. So we're
Dylan used to go to like geo stuff, which I think is kind of wound down, but in terms of EC conferences, there's one in May as well that is in Cooperstown.
I meant, outside pilot assessment in the future.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. Yeah, we had a discussion.
Yeah, this has been on the agenda. I meant to get it in front of Justin for this earlier, and I just couldn't, so I apologize, but it's a new business, not anything to vote on, but something that we want to research into the new year, because we don't have a position like a Randy, a Dylan, here. It is common practice for other IDAs, some of them Justin's clients. If you go to Green Island, I don't know if they do this in Cohoes or Rensselaer, but Justin will describe this better. I'm going to summarize and say a third-party pilot, let's say review, financial review. It's a fee-based thing per pilot, so it costs money. There's money for this, but it happens as well as there is an executive director in place, but it just provides oversight that is then passed on to the board as a summary of, like, I'll let Justin take it from there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, in many IDAs that have, a more active deal flow or a bigger pipeline, they'll engage a panel or one financial analyst to help them with weighing a pilot proposal and what the company might be asking for. So as part of their scope of work, they'll take in not only the application, but appraisals, the pro formas, the debt, all that stuff, that the questions that Albert is always drilling into, and rightfully. What they do is they generate a report to the IDA board as part of or prior to the public hearing that says, yes, it passes a but-for test. Without this assistance, they can't make their business work, or it's a reasonable amount of subsidy to help the business work within your municipality. Practically speaking, what it does and what the board would do is, you ask for proposals. Camoin and Associates are active in the space. Victoria Stores and Associates, she's based right in Bethlehem. She's the chair of the Bethlehem IDA and also services a bunch of clients in her private business in this space. And there's a few others. National Development Council, which is a not-for-profit, they do it. Typically, they'll do it on a project-by-project basis, and something like $5,000 to $10,000 is charged, but the applicant picks that up. It's really not on your balance sheet, but you're facilitating it. And you'll get a report at your public hearing that does a lot of the elbow grease that you're looking for as an underwriter or as a former banker. It looks at things, yeah.
Will we keep that information that they're supplied with? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
It's a report to you as the IDA
But the
board.
information that they build the report on, do we keep that? Like appraisals?
Oh, yeah,
all that
yeah,
stuff?
all that
Okay.
stuff is presented to you as
Okay.
work product. A lot of it can be confidential and
Yeah,
respected,
yeah.
But it's a tool that helps you get into a situation and avoids, and we call our uniform tax exemption policy a uniform tax exemption policy, but we tend to bounce around a little bit. That report and analysis can help you be more consistent project over project over project, so your pilots kind of look the same, as opposed to having some outliers. So it's a concept that Jeff brought up and a need, especially if you have an executive director opening that hasn't been filled yet. There's kind of some bandwidth that isn't being picked up. Puts some pressure on me as counsel, puts pressure on Jeff as a volunteer chair. Seamus has been helpful. Today is doing more administrative day-to-day, not really negotiating pilots. So having that extra set of eyes and analysis, I think, makes sense. So the thought was to solicit some proposals to take a look at in January or February. And as our next rounds of applications come in, we don't have any active pilot applications, but I think some are coming. That'll help you have a team ready to respond to it in a little bit more in-depth way. So that's the big concept. And hopefully we'll have a planner step in and be the new Randy soon. That'll help kind of manage that process.
I don't expect us to have those proposals from those firms by the 15th or whatever I said, or the first meeting in January.
Probably February, yeah.
But, I'm gonna work with Jay and Justin to get those and bring them in front of you guys. No action at this meeting, but I think it's, after picking Justin's brain on it, I think it makes a lot of sense to do. And,
So this is gonna change the application process.
Yeah, and usually what happens is, in those environments, other clients, Port Chester's really good at it. They have a panel of 2 or 3 of these financial analysts, and they try to be fair, rotate on the panel. They'll get an application and make sure it's complete, like today, and they hand it off and say, listen, Victoria's gonna be calling you, applicant, and she's gonna be asking you for a bunch of due diligence items. And it takes about 30 days, so instead of having a next month process, it might take, 2 cycles. And that interceding period, she generates this report and works with the chair and the executive director or whoever, maybe a committee, to take a look at her findings, and she'll come up with a reasonableness test. If someone's asking for a very aggressive pilot and there isn't a proven need there based on pro forma, she'll help you balance it and help you kind of tailor it in a way that makes more sense.
So where does it happen in the process? Like, like today, we just did the preliminary part for this
Right.
pilot.
So after today, we'd call Victoria or call whatever firm that we select and say, listen, we've got an application, here it is. And, you're empowered now under your engagement to go work with the applicant directly to get all of the information, all of the tax returns, all of the audited financials, and the project pro forma, the debt, all of that stuff, and blend it in a way so you kind of better understand.
I think it sounds like a great idea.
And then that helps
It's
you get to the
really
hearing, yeah.
And I met Victoria at that EDC conference. She introduced herself to me. I didn't know that she did this on the side, but it's interesting if you start looking at IDAs across the state, and I encourage you guys to do that, like, a lot of them do this. And, it's not uncommon, even if there is a executive director position, it's just another level of oversight. I would welcome it, and I think, like I said, we'll get proposals back. And it could, to Justin's point, it could make, if that goes forward, depending on, like, what the results are of that finding, it could mean you're not going, from this meeting to public hearing meeting within a month. It might be, like you said, it might be a little bit longer, could be, but we'll see. And, we didn't handle a lot of pilots this past year, but you could imagine if you're doing a lot of these, it could really be helpful to have this. But, we'll search, we'll get proposals, and we'll bring them in. We'll get either their proposals in writing, or we'll ask them to come present to us, you know, as soon as the next meeting or in February, and then we can make a decision on it.
Well, could it also be an option to have more than one firm? Because, you know, if, you know,
Yeah,
one is not available or, you know, backlogged
Exactly.
or whatever, so I know we do that here at the city with multiple, you know, engineers or what have you, but,
or even like rotate.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it. We'll go for 3, and we'll,
Like a RFQ or something.
yeah.
Yeah, award it to
Um,
more than one.
If it's too, I mean, there just might not be time, there's not a person to do this, so if Justin and Danae don't have time to help run this, then it might be even later than that, but we'll start on it. Start the process. That's all new business. Excuse me, sorry, there is no old business today. We will go into the financial statements as that.
Our report is the same thing. As of November 30th, we had total total assets of $1,319,381, with $1,182,818 that in cash. We had total liabilities of $55,032, which left us with a fund balance of $1,264,349. There's no significant changes to the statement of financial position for the month of November. And lastly, we have the statement of activity for the month of November. We ran a surplus of $426. Our main source of revenue was our monthly interest earnings, and our largest expenses was in our professional services.
Matt, going forward, when you do the balance sheet or the statement of financial position, do the prior year comparison column as well? Thank you.
Any other questions from that, or do we have
The receivables, what's going on with,
So that was pilots who have been paid their pilot the first week of, or actually we just got the last pilot today.
okay, dinosaur pages, I'm assuming the $1,700 is a fee.
That's the penalties and
Yeah,
interest.
it's a late fee, right? They paid that too?
Dinosaur paid their pilot and their first late fee, and then there was a second late fee that was assessed that we're stopped at.
Okay. So they're both cleared up now?
The pilot payments are
Okay,
fully
right,
paid, it's just
okay.
late fees that are
Okay.
out there.
So is this a late fee or a penalty for the 91 days and over on R&M Holdings?
And we're chasing that as well.
$43.
It was from, yeah, that one was confusing, it was from first payment, right? I don't remember what happened. What's that?
91 and over, so it must have been from the February cycle.
Yeah, it was, those were all billed kind of late, but then I thought there's what didn't come in too late. It was the whole, April was tricky, but, apparently there was still a late fee applied, so I asked them if they could pay it, and I don't know if they knew about it. So, they know now.
Some easily overlooked.
Yeah, it just didn't make it to them, I don't think.
Any other questions from that, or do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
No, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We just have the absences, no opposed. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned, and no CRC meeting to round out the year, right?